Hello, hello, dear Kenyans. I know we are in a lot of pain at this time when we are trying to mourn the death of army officers who died on a plane crash, a military chopper which crashed, and the chief of defense forces, Francis Ogora, died. Is this really an accidental death? I know we have lost so many people. We lost many people, and there's this year, within 1 year, we have had more than um, 5 helicopter crashes involving military. Is this nobody has done anything about this? And you cannot say that this was accidental. We have to connect the dots here. Number one of the things is that the helicopter, which are being used in Kenya, the Berry Hui. This is a military helicopter which has been in existence from 1956. It was first used by America during the Vietnam War. That Hui, they were used to fly to rescue people in the field, and most of them are outdated. They are not being used here in other countries. These are very outdated helicopters which the Kenyans are using right now, which will not be, some of them are outdated with the greatest technology. They would be used, I know, maybe even if they are still in use, are they being serviced very well? This is one of the rot in our country that people don't care. People pocket the money which is allocated to service planes, and then they do a shoddy job. That graph can reduce this. So this was not something accidental. And one of, one of the things we have to see here, there could be a succession war. Why am I calling so? Ogolla was a decorated military officer. This is a man who was second in command. Um, he was the vice chief of defense during Uru's time. And because he participated in the bombers issue where he was sent to bring security down, and Ruto clearly said that he was sent there to overthrow. And I will want you to listen to this clip.
I appointed General Ogolla. General Ogolla is among the people who went to bombers to try and overturn my victory. Do you know that? But because when I looked at his CV, he was the best person to be general. I called him and I sat him down. I told him, my friend, you went to bombers to try and overturn my victory. But because you are the best person to be general, I'm going to give you the job. That is how it works with me.
Is that really true? When you see the non-verbal communication of President Ruto, did he do it out of good gesture, or he had a grand plan? Sometimes it beats reason when you see the tone of voice, the way he was talking. He could have given him that job. He might have appeared, you know, it's a student of Machiavellian where he used the surrender tactics and appointed him so that he would have appeared that he lost the war. He lost the battle, but he won the war. And then he had this grand plan. Look at what has happened. Right now, a new chief of defense forces have been sworn in. David Kimaiyo.
Mayor Tarus, commander of the Kenya Army, do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya and to the President as the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, that I will obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, and that I will protect and uphold the sovereignty, integrity, and dignity of the people of Kenya, that I will diligently serve the people and Republic of Kenya without fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, prejudice, or any political, religious, or other influence. In the exercise of the functions entrusted to me, I will at all times and to the best of my ability respect, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, people, and the Republic of Kenya, and obey all laws, orders, regulations, directions, and instructions concerning the Kenya Defense Forces. So help me God.
Well, David Kimayo has been sworn in as the new Chief of Defense. You know, there is something in Kenya we call one man who was in the military, Tonje. General Tonje had put a succession plan in place, how the military succession would appear. So if today we are having a Chief of Defense from Navy, the next one will come from Air Force, and then the next one will come from the Army. So that succession has been there, and the Kenya Defense Forces is a well-disciplined force where things were working in order. But look at where you can be able to see and how some of these things, you know, they come. We have the hierarchy. This is the hierarchy, the defense force hierarchy, where we have the chief of defense forces, vice chief of defense forces. Then the next rank is the lieutenant general. Some of them you find they are either in Air Force, in Navy, they would be leading there. You must have that. Then we have major general. And then from major general, we have brigadier down that way. So with this arrangement, you cannot rise to become a chief of defense forces if you are not a lieutenant general. You cannot jump from being a major just to be a chief of defense force or a vice chief of defense force. So now, this is where like we had, you have to get all of these stars. They call them the stars. The only person with all of the, you know, the 4 stars is the chief of defense forces. So you can only rise there when you have 3 stars. And to have 3 stars, you have to have been a lieutenant general. So you must have 3 stars. And now most of these major general are base commanders. They are like they can work as commander of the Navy, commander of the Army, and so forth. So this is what happened a month ago. Now let's come to Kimayo's meteoric rise. This is something you want to see. David Kimayo, a month ago, he was just a major. He was a major with 2 stars. And then on March 8, he was promoted to lieutenant general a month ago. Then he got 3 stars now. And now he's almost now the heir apparent. Then he was appointed the commander of the Army. Now, there was Charles Muriu Kihara, who was also a lieutenant governor, but he was a vice chief of defense. Now, what has happened here, just barely a month as a lieutenant general, he has been elevated up to become the chief of defense forces. Can you connect the dot there? Could there be something there that Kimayo was just promoted a month ago to lieutenant general and the commander of the Navy, and now is the chief of the defense forces? Not even that alone. Even after if Ogolla could have lived his life and complete his term as the chief of defense forces, the next chief of defense forces was to come from the Navy. And here in the Navy, this is where we have Major General Jameson Rongiro Mutai, who was the Navy commander, was promoted to the rank of lieutenant general. And then he was appointed vice chancellor of the National Defense University. So, you know, he must have been, he was still being prepared, he was prepared to take over Ogolla after Ogola'S retirement. Mutai replaced Lieutenant General Albert Kendagori at the Defense University. After this, he was appointed to lead the Kenya mission in Tel Aviv, Israel. This was the man probably in the position who was next in line to replace Ogolla. But because he was moved out, so his chances of replacing Ogolla is not there. So even if he's in, so long as Mutai is from the army and from the Navy, and now he's in a university where he can still come from the army and is yet a lieutenant general. You see, all of the plans were met. So Kenyans connect dots here. There is some fishy thing here, which, you know, we have to say the truth. If you have to be a president of a country, you have to serve all the people. You don't have to push people around here. So I know in social media, people are talking that Ogola'S death and the others was not accidental. It was planned. It could be. It's not the president. I'm not pointing anybody. It could be somebody who wanted that position, could have organized for. And I wonder why a chief of defense forces are going to inspect the construction of schools. When did he become an education officer or whatever? It leaves a lot to be desired. Why specifically? Even he was not with many of the senior people. Not even his PA was there. It's ironical. And sometimes we will not understand. But let me say, I'm sorry to the people whom we have lost, great people of Kenya. A man like Ogolla, who has contributed immensely to his community. I like the way the community as Eurochasmai has helped to build the church. This was a saint. And I tell you, such people, such saints, if anybody calls their dead, they are in for trouble. But Kenyans, I know this is a time of mourning, we wouldn't say this. I stand here with a heavy heart of the many losses we have got because of the negligence. I talk like this because 3 years ago, I lost a son in a military mission who was in Kenya Air Force. And the airplane also went down like the one of Ogolla, and 10 of them died. So I implore with the many Kenyans living, but you ask me, I don't think this death was an accident. There must be something wrong, either negligence or deliberate. May God save country, Kenya. Thank you very much for